couple of times. And I'll tell you what, spoiler, boy, that heated it right up.
Oh, good. Look at that. What a fun fact. What a fun thing to learn.
Everybody's like, hit beverage, you dummy. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good, it's a good tip. I don't look at the buttons because at home.
Just look at the numbers, yeah.
Yeah, and I know those buttons are all, the only button I ever use at home is the popcorn button. But even that, I stand there and I monitor. Because you can end up with a burnt
you don't
bag
walk
of popcorn.
Away?
I don't walk away.
Even for like the first 30 seconds when you know it's going to be all right?
Yeah, sure. But I mean, tail end, when I know it's coming to the end, you still got to listen. You got to listen.
You don't do baked potatoes ever in the microwave?
No.
It's just quick.
No, I understand it. I don't.
I prefer taking the time, putting it in the oven, get that nice crisp outer shell on it.
Yeah,
it's very good. But sometimes you're in a rush. You can just throw it in the microwave for 7-8 minutes, whatever it is.
Yeah,
it's good.
No, my microwave is a glorified popcorn popper. That's just about all I ever use it for. Maybe I'll want to heat something up and I'll put it, put a minute on the clock or whatever. But
if there's one thing I took from my father besides, I mean, just like the all the religious stuff aside, the one thing that he was very adamant about is that he does not like microwave popcorn. He prefers the air pop. Mm-hmm. So we always had the air popper. Mm-hmm. And that's how he always did it. Because he doesn't want all the oils and stuff. And the air popper.
Well, I just remember, I remember when I was a kid, my dad would make popcorn in the big pan, the big pot or whatever.
Yeah.
And on the stove and pour it into a grocery bag. And that was how we ate it. And then when everybody thought that like air popped popcorn was like healthier or whatever, but it just tasted like packing peanuts.
That's what he likes. I mean, he'd put a little bit of butter and a little bit of salt on it, but it was very light.
Yeah.
And he just really prefers the air pop popcorn.
And I imagine that Poundcake's family was probably a Jiffy Pop house.
There was a little of that, but we had both.
You had both.
We loved the microwave, or we loved the microwave popcorn. We loved the corn that came in like a barrel that had like the cheesy caramel.
The pre-popped.
Mm-hmm, and then and then every so often the treat was cooking it on the stove.
Oh.
It was just like, oh, you're going to make it on the stove. It was so, even though it was old-fashioned to us, that was like cutting edge. You're like, whoa, we're making it on the stove?
It's labor-intensive on the stove.
It is, yeah.
For whatever reason, it seemed like the popcorn experience was way more authentic because it was made on the stove.
Hey, it's like how they did in the old country.
Yeah, you're more a part of it.
You appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, Mom, look at the bag. She's like, you mean like how it is in the microwave? I'm like, oh, yeah.
I guess so.
Did she make you shuck the corn first and then put it into the pot to really get the authentic...
For the authenticality
you
of it
gotta shuck your own corn before you pop it.
No.
I know I've told the story before, but with my station in Pittsburgh, we had an intern there who had some condition where if he smelled microwaved popcorn, it would make him vomit.
That's
And
insane.
he and I were there on the first couple of years I was there. I still did a Saturday shift. And so I was on midday on Saturday. And he was there, and I didn't know it. I thought I just had the place to myself. And I walked down the hall, and I don't know what the reason was. I guess there was microwave popcorn.
That's gotta be psychosomatic, right? Like, that's not
it can't be
condition.
I was going to say, it can't be like a medical... I don't know. I didn't press him on it. I felt awful. But there was microwave popcorn in the vending machine, and it got me at just the right moment. I go, man, that sounds good. Popped it in, walked away. Had no clue that he was around. He was in one of the side studios, I guess, or something, doing something. And I walked back into the kitchen to get my popcorn, and he has vomited on the floor.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, well, this popcorn's not going to taste any good now. Thanks for ruining my appetite.
Yeah, it's his fault.
I kicked him while he was lurched over, and I walked out.
Kicked him.
And what city was that in again?
That was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Have you ever been there? You know, they call it the Steel City. It was once the seat of the steel industry throughout
Been there several times, and I'm headed there tonight.
Oh, my goodness.
Doing shows at the Arcade Comedy Theater. Tonight, 9:30 p.m. You can get tickets by going to billsquire.com. And
so you got to haul ass after the show.
I do have to haul ass, but I'm not worried about that because I just took my car to Terry's North Coast Auto.
You got to check it out?
Yeah.
Oh,
well, I just
boy.
got an oil change, and they do an inspection on the whole car, and then they send it to you so you can see what they see.
Oh, boy.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Terry's North Coast. Are they on the North Coast?
Yeah, I mean,
I know some people
Cleveland's the North Coast.
Well, people refer to the entire Cleveland area as the North Coast.
They're
but
in Cleveland
if you
and
live in
Parma.
Akron, nobody's going to say that they live on the North Coast.
They got a shop in Parma and they got a shop in Cleveland.
Okay. Next week on the show, by the way, I will have passes for you for Tim Dillon, who I assume is a comedian.
Yeah. I've opened for him before.
Nikki Glazer is playing the Agora. I'll get you set up if you're a fan of hers. And a band called Bad Flower are going to play the House of Blues.
Oh, I like them.
Yeah.
I saw them at Sonic Temple a few years ago.
Oh, yeah?
They were good. Very good.
All right. They're not doing Sonic. Are they doing Sonic Temple this year? I haven't heard anything about it. Okay. I'm doing Incarceration, but Sonic Temple I hadn't heard anything about. So, but today we'll blow out the last pair for Seven Dust and Joe Satriani and that Mastodon show. And the Cavaliers play tonight, I think. They're the penultimate game there for the regular season in Brooklyn against Kyrie and the Nets.
It was a big game. We could really use this win. I think if we lose this one, they go to 7 and we go to 8.
Oh, God, I got the rundown of how that all plays out.
Man.
Like, Ray Davis over at TM was like, you want me to read you this?
Yes.
I can't even... if the Cavs stay in the 7th or 8th place bracket, they will play on Tuesday night. If the Cavs drop into the 9th or 10th place bracket, they will play on Wednesday night. If the Cavs finish 7th or 8th and win the play-in game, they're in the playoffs. If they finish 7th or 8th and lose the play-in game, they will play on Friday, which is the same night as the home opener, Guardians home opener. If the Cavs finish 9th or 10th and lose the play-in game, their season is over. If they finish 9th or 10th and win the play-in game, they will play on Friday night.
And if they
It's
win
very
that one,
extraordinarily convoluted.
they're in the playoffs.
Wow.
So there's a lot going on.
So it's the Clippers, it's the,
No, that's the West.
Huh?
Clippers are in the West.
What am I looking at here? I thought that's who they were playing, was the Clippers.
No.
Oh.
They're in the West. So it would
Well,
be,
again, I don't want to make it any more confusing.
The Nets, so Cleveland 7, the Nets are 8 right now. I think 9 is the Hornets, and then, the Hawks, and then the Hornets.
Atlanta Hawks and Hornets, yeah. Okay, well, listen, tonight, playing the Nets, that's a game that they would very much like to win.
Yeah.
And you'll hear it here on MMS at 7:30 tonight. Live from Brooklyn. And then Sunday, back here at home to play the Milwaukee Buckaroos. Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks. I was reading about this woman who had a very lucky outcome from dealing with a rude person. Did you read about the woman who won the lottery in California? There's a woman in Tarzana, California. I used to have an aunt that lived in Tarzana. And this woman was at a Vons, which is one of their grocery store chains out in California for unfamiliar. Lakedra Edwards was going to play the lottery. She was going to buy tickets from one of the vending machines. They have lottery scratchers vending machines. And she put $40 in. And she was going to pick a bunch of different games. And somebody bumped into her on the way out, and it pushed her hand onto the $30 button.
Oh, no.
And she was pissed because she's like, I was going to buy a bunch of smaller denomination tickets.
She wanted to play the numbers.
Play the numbers.
Which is still not the numbers.
So she blew, 3/4 of her money on that. This guy bumps her, doesn't say anything, goes out the door. Her hand hits the $30 scratcher ticket. And then I guess she spends the last 10 on another ticket. And that $30 ticket got her $10 million.
Well, that's a happy accident.
So is that fate, Alan? Is that fate? Was it meant to be?
I don't believe in fate. No, it wasn't meant to be. It's just an unbelievably fortunate coincidence.
She was going to be pissed and, ooh.
Yeah, imagine that. She was mad initially because she wanted to buy her usual selection of lower-priced tickets. She's got her finger near the button. But just imagine all of the things that have to fall into place for that. Your hand has to be close enough to the button or whatever for someone to bump you hard enough.
That you
it's like a Rube
button, yeah.
Goldberg machine.
It had to, everything had to happen.
All the
just
dominoes
right.
had to fall.
I feel like this guy is guardian angel. Like, he's a guardian angel, and he knew exactly when to do it, and that's what happened.
Well, I think
I don't even believe in that crap.
I was going to say, if I did...
But in this case, that seems like He's like, you know what? It's time to help her out. And just bumps her, and then boom, $10 million.
Seems like it might have been better if that was the case, to just Morgan Freeman her and go, push that button, and then walk out.
But you're not going to do that. You have to intervene. Because why would she trust that?
Oh, I see. Oh, he's not revealing himself to her. Is
No.
he? He's just yoink.
Yeah.
She said
He's coming across as someone that's rude and being a bother to her, and then all of a sudden, he's actually helping her out. Because, what do they always say, Alan? The Lord works in what?
Tarzana, California.
Mischievous ways.
Mischievous ways, exactly.
Mischievous
the Lord
ways.
works in mischievous
Just like the
ways.
U2 song. That scamp. The Lord.
Lort.
She said, I didn't believe it at first. I got back on the 405, and I kept looking at the ticket, and I almost crashed my car. So I pulled over, and I kept looking at it, and then I scanned it with my California Lottery app and just kept thinking, this can't be right. And she took it in, and they said she won $10 million.
That's so much.
The convenience store, or the Vons location where she bought it, will get $50,000 for selling the ticket.
I think I would probably have a heart attack. Like, because I too wouldn't believe my eyes. If I saw something like that, I wouldn't trust anybody with it. I wouldn't trust me with it.
But just for most people, you could probably easily say 95% of the population, just this palpable weight that would be lifted off your shoulders if you got half that.
Well, it's one of those things
more
where
problems.
It's.
I think a lot of people
unbelievable,
invite problems.
Yeah, you'll the problems are whatever, but it's just it's so much money that you really can't wrap your head around it. So would react the same way she is, like keep looking at it, like not believing that this is real.
I guess
totally
so.
be
I
in
mean,
shock.
I think when somebody wins the Powerball, I wouldn't be able to get my head around it. I can get my head around $10 million. That's money that you go, if I really take care of this.
It's not the amount, it's the way you won it.
Oh.
Like the winning $10 million on a scratcher just seems like,
Yeah.
win $100, win $1,000, maybe even like $20,000. Like, whoa, that's crazy. But $10 million on a scratcher seems so far out there. And then also,
The ticket was sitting in the machine waiting for the very next person to play it.
It's insane.
So she said that she will buy a house and launch a nonprofit organization,
Well, good for her.
which sounds very, very nice.
Did you hear the story about Giannis Antetokounmpo, who plays for the Milwaukee Buckaroos?
No, I didn't.
So he has so much money. He's worth $100 million, and he's what, 26 years old.
Yeah.
He was making so much money and putting it in banks that the banks were like, we can't insure it once it gets to a certain amount. And so he'd just go, okay, I'll just take it to another bank. He had 50 bank accounts. And then finally the owner of the Bucks is like, buddy, what are you doing?
I thought they taught.
That's not how you
I thought
do
they
it.
taught these guys like financial. I mean, they give them media training to be like, don't tweet when you know.
They do, but it doesn't mean they always follow it.
Wow.
So then the owner stepped in and is like, hey, let me show you how to invest this money properly, because having 50 different banks is insane.
I can't remember all those passwords for my accounts.
I couldn't even remember 50 banks.
Right.
Like, how do you even, I didn't even know there were 50 banks.
Yeah, there's a lot of banks.
Yeah. So how do you do that though? Because I knew that the bank can only insure your money up to a certain point. Like I think it's like $300,000 they can insure it, and after that you can't have like an account after a certain amount. So what, do you have to spend that money? Do you have to put it in?
Well, you put it into like an IRA or something like that, I believe.
But isn't that just a bank account? It's literally a bank account.
But that's a bank account that you're investing. So they're taking your money and using it and then giving you returns on it. That's different than a regular, like you can't make a withdrawal from that without paying some sort of penalty.
I don't like that.
But this is a situation where you have so much money that you're trying to get 10 or 12% every year return on that, so that you can, so it's just making money on top of that.
Yeah, it's
putting your money to work for you.
It's funny, and that's such a kind of a kid thing to do too. Is if you don't know when you've got that much money, you don't know. So you have this visual image of him walking around with 50 different checkbooks.
Yeah, right.
Well, I already have balloons on this one. Am I going to get Garfield on these, or what do I do?
See, I feel bad
Isn't
for
he
people like
Greek?
that.
Yeah, he's Greek.
I mean, Cyprus, which is 90 minutes from Greece by plane, is like world notorious for laundering money. Why didn't he just put it in a Cypriot bank or something and then tell his parents to keep an eye on it?
I don't know.
What's his name again? Is he cute?
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Antetokounmpo. Giann.
Oh, wow. It's long.
Yeah.
Yes, it is long, and so is his name. So this lady got bumped, and it all worked out for her. So congratulations to her.
What is the limit? I know they can insure it to, like FDIC insures what, to like $200,000 or $300,000?
No clue.
But yeah, like once you got $10 million, what are you doing?
Yeah, I guess so.
Where are you putting all that?
I do not know.
Gotta figure it out.
Alan Cox Show After Hours line. With the phones down today, you can use that if you like, but you can use it any time. It's 216-986-8903 to leave a message. Maybe these will play someday when I hit them.
Hey, Alan, it's Matt. Hey, the other day you guys were talking about how Jerry Seinfeld's dad on Seinfeld was played by two different actors. So was George Costanza's father, actually. The first time that George Costanza's father appeared in the show, it was played by an actor named John Rudolph or John Randolph. And it was in that episode where they buy the used wheelchair for the lady. You know, they took the handicap parking spot at that mall in Jersey, and the lady had to wheel down the ramp, and she crashed. And then his original father worked for like an organization that provided wheelchairs to the disabled people, but it was a different actor. And then I think that they went back in and reshot that episode with Jerry Stiller, but you can still find the original with that different actor. Take it easy. Bye.
Matt is absolutely correct, by the way, and I completely forgot about that. The guy he's talking about named John Randolph, who's been dead now almost 20 years. But he was a very recognizable character actor. He was in a bunch of movies. I think he was one of the grandparents in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. He was the original Frank Costanza, and they shot... It's hard to believe that the Costanzas didn't show up until the fourth season. They never showed George's parents until the fourth season. And they had this guy, John Randolph, who played his father. And Larry David didn't think the guy was bringing the right energy or something. And for a while, they had his episode, when Seinfeld used to be on Hulu, they had both of them. They had the Stiller one.
Oh, wow.
Because they did go back and reshoot for syndication with Jerry Stiller. But John Randolph was the first guy to play Frank Costanza.
8 years I had that car. Not a scratch on it. 8 years.
2 crack. 3 dot.
Beautiful Mercury. I special ordered that bench seat.
Dad, this other car cut us off. They had swastikas all over it. They were hurling racial epithets at us. I could have been killed.
I told you not to give it to him. 3 crack, 4 bam, soap.
You know my insurance doesn't even cover this. The whole thing is a total loss.
Frank, the important thing is he didn't get hurt.
No, it isn't.
No, it isn't.
So for whatever reason, when they moved it over to Netflix, now that Seinfeld's over on Netflix, they didn't include the John Randolph one. But Matt did out Seinfeld nerd me there because I had completely forgotten about John Randolph. But he was the first Frank Costanza. And you have to figure everyone in that scene with Jason Alexander is probably dead. Estelle Harris just died. The old women she's playing mahjong with, they're probably all gone. And, season 4 would have been 93. So, yeah, those women are not 30 years older than they were then.
They've talked about...
And still running around.
They've talked about when they brought Jerry Stiller in, and they were looking for this dynamic, and they didn't know exactly what they were looking for, but they thought it'd be funny to have Estelle Harris be, like, way up here and have whoever's playing against her... And they were telling Jerry Stiller this, like, just play kind of like you're like a broken man.
Low key. But then he screams something, and it just clicked, and they're like, that's the couple right there. The way they're playing it is perfect. Yeah. Trying to out-scream each other.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a break. If you want to text for something, 35192. We'll get that through to me. AlanCoxShow.com if you want to watch, listen anywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
The Alan